Monday, January 9th at 4:07 p.m.
Mr. Charlton, this is me, Ella. I want to say thank you so much. Mr. O'Mara called me and he told me everything went in my favor. Mr. Charlton, thank you so much for everything you have done for me. I'm sorry I'm crying, but I'm so happy. I am so happy I got my life back. I'm no longer going to be a victim. Thank you so much. If you get a chance, call me or I'll call you tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Charlton.
1201 Pickens Avenue. That's a bodega. And I'm in the store and it was so cold that day. It was a cold day. So I'm in there waiting on the man to wait on me, but it was a young lady in front of me who was ordering and talking and stuff like that. So I had to wait for her to finish. And I hear somebody call my name. So I turns around and I looks at the door and I said, "Why are you calling me?" "I want to know what happened between you and my mother." I said, "Why are you asking me? You should ask your mother." Right? And she tried to lure me out the store. And then she called me. I turned around. Next thing I know, I got punched in the face. I mean, punched. And I couldn't really remember too much of nothing until Mr. Charlton showed me the videotape.
The nature of the case was so sort of unique because Ella had been through being falsely arrested twice, and then coming out of that process over years, where we had actually investigated and chased down and arrested one of the people who had attacked her, and that person pled guilty. Another one, the defendant's niece, pled guilty, and so it's just the defendant was left, Natisha Addison, the woman who had originally taxed you, right?
Yes.
And so she was the only one who's left. She wouldn't take a plea, despite the fact that we had this videotape that showed pretty clearly, certainly very clearly, that the violence was all one direction from these people to Ella, and also somewhat clearly, certainly taking all the facts and context, that it was Natisha Addison who did this. And ultimately the jury believed that. And so we got Ella ready for trial. I mean, it was a long process. Right?
Yeah, it was real long.
We had people cross-examining you in the office, remember that?
Yeah. He helped me in every way that he can. He got my emergency transfer and everything. And where I'm living at now, and I really like it. I'm working with Meals on Wheels, I volunteer. And I always call him from time to time to let him know how I'm doing. If you're a victim and you need help, get the help that you need. Because you don't have to be a victim. Talk about whatever's going on with you. And don't be ashamed. Because if you hold back, then you can't get the help that you need. That's why when it happened to me, I felt comfortable talking to Mr. Charlton and Natisha. When she came on to the case, I felt comfortable talking to them and letting them know exactly what was going on with me. And now, I know I'm still a victim, but I don't have to be a victim. I don't have to live in fear. I got my life back, and I can live my life one day at a time.
A Flatlands family says they are finally getting justice for Vladimir Michael. He was murdered 3 years ago, and now one of the gunmen was sentenced today. News 12's Enrique Correa has that story.
Don't ever forget the look on my son's face, especially as he lay on the floor dying after you shot him 7 times.
Those are the words Marie Bernadin said in court to the man convicted of murdering her 23-year-old son, Vladimir. Bernadin says she and her family have been waiting almost 3 years to see her son's killer brought to justice. On Tuesday, Judge Chun sentenced the alleged gang member Jason Walker to 25 years in prison for the murder of Vladimir Michel. On April 14, 2009, police say Vladimir was shot several times at the Glenwood houses in broad daylight. Cops say Walker pulled the trigger and Dwayne Smith was his accomplice. In February, Dwayne Smith pled guilty to the shootings, and he'll be back in court on Wednesday for sentencing. Reporting from downtown Brooklyn, I'm Enrique Correa, News 12.
So when they came for me in my job, letting me know that they described themselves to me and letting me know that my son been shot. But I thought he was just shot. My son been shot and killed, which I didn't believe. I asked them why they were. Take me to him. They told me no, he's under investigation, so probably tomorrow. I tell them, where is my son right now? They told me in the morgue. Since they told me he's in the morgue, I still didn't believe it because he was with his friend. I think they was making a mistake. So something telling me on my way out from my job, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But only thing come over me, a feeling that I never feel before, I just shout it. From my job, if you stand in 2 blocks, you will hear my voice 3 times. Since then, I can cry no more.
I remember Detective Hen and I coming here, and Detective Hen telling me how special Marie was. And it's the worst part of my job, is when I have to speak to a ma'am or a family member of someone who's been killed. Marie is a devout Catholic, and I was a devout Catholic, so we sort of have been praying together for almost 3 years. And I think that night we prayed together, and I gave her my condolences, and I promised her I would get justice for her son and justice for her.
She told me that she checked my son's background. She can see my son is a very innocent boy, the way the murder happened and the way they describe the murder and the way the witness who was next to my son, his friend, described it, that my son is innocent. He will fight for it to the end.
Well, Miss Gleeson, when she first came, I could see that she has like a positive energy towards us, and that she takes her job seriously, and she's very kind to us, and yeah, she really supports us. And I'm like, if I see another DA, there will not be anyone like Miss Gleeson.
The verdict was so emotional, but with happiness for me. But since the judge ordering us not to scream, not to disturb, so we keep it in. But Janet and I glance, and then we know the sign already, you know. So that was a wonderful thing to hear, guilty from all those 13 jurors.
My stomach was in my mouth until I heard that word guilty. And the first thing I did was I just turned and looked at Marie and smiled, and she smiled back. And I was just like, oh, we did it.
We did it.
Thank God we did it.
And then after that, we hugged so tight.
Yes.
You know. My message to the family of the victims, please, whenever you're in the street to see a mother, a father with their kids get killed, don't stop to find justice. So since that day, we born like mother and daughter. I'm not saying
sisters, I think.
Sister, okay. Sister, I'm sorry.
Lights go out and I can't be saved. Tides that I tried to swim against brought me down upon my knees. Oh, I beg and plead, singing, come out of things unsaid. Shoot an apple off my head, and a trouble that can't be named. A tiger's waiting to be tamed, singing.
They're gonna hire me. I got my papers.
That's cool.
And that's the best thing that ever happened to me. I got my life back. Thank you, Mr. Charlton.